Creepy psychology tricks that control you. Have you ever wondered if your choices are really yours, or if someone else is pulling the strings behind the scenes? Psychology is often seen as a science of healing, growth, and understanding the human mind. But there's a darker side, one where subtle techniques are used to influence, manipulate, and even control people without them realizing it. Imagine walking into a room, making what feels like a random choice, only to later discover that the decision was carefully engineered by someone who knew the right psychological button to press. Creepy, right? In this series of insights, we'll peel back the layers of some of the most unsettling psychological tricks, tactics so simple, yet so powerful, that once you see them, you'll start to notice them everywhere. From how marketers trick you into buying things you don't need, to how friends, strangers, and even loved ones can bend your behavior with a few carefully chosen words. This isn't about supernatural powers. This is about the very real, very human vulnerabilities in our minds. Weaknesses that, when exposed, show just how easy it is for us to be led down paths we never meant to walk. So sit back, but don't get too comfortable, because by the time we're done, you might not trust your own thoughts the same way again. One of the creepiest yet simplest tricks in psychology is the power of silence. Most people think communication is all about words, but silence itself is a weapon. Humans are wired to fill silence. If you pause in a conversation and just look at someone, they'll feel compelled to speak. And often, they'll reveal more than they intended. Interrogators know this. So do skilled negotiators. By asking a simple question and then going quiet, they create a psychological discomfort that pushes the other person to explain themselves, sometimes exposing secrets or vulnerabilities. But it gets creepier. In relationships, silence can be used as a form of control. The infamous silent treatment. It's not just about ignoring someone, it's about making them feel invisible, insignificant, desperate for acknowledgement. Over time, it chips away at their confidence, making them more submissive. Silence is a mirror. It reflects people's inner fears, guilt, and insecurities back at them. That's why it's so effective and so unsettling. The scarcity trap. Have you ever rushed to buy something just because it said, only two left in stock? That's scarcity psychology. Our brains are wired to value things that appear rare, even if they're not valuable at all. Marketers exploit this constantly. Limited time offers, countdown timers, exclusive deals, all designed to trick your survival instincts. Scarcity creates urgency. Urgency kills rational thought. Suddenly you're spending money on things you never really wanted. But scarcity works beyond shopping. In social dynamics, when someone plays hard to get, they seem more attractive because they appear less available. When access to information is restricted, curiosity skyrockets. The less you can have, the more you want it. It's disturbing to realize how many of our choices are simply reactions to someone dangling scarcity in front of us. We think we're deciding freely, but in reality, the game is rigged. The foot in the door trick. This one is classic and terrifying in its simplicity. Ask someone for a small favor first, and once they agree, they're more likely to agree to a bigger one. It works because people want to stay consistent. Saying no later feels like admitting they were wrong earlier. Cult leaders use this. They don't start with outrageous demands. They begin with something harmless. Come to one meeting, read this short pamphlet. Once you agree, you've opened the door. And with each step, it becomes harder to turn back. Advertisers use it too. Free trials, free samples, free downloads. Once you say yes once, your brain is primed to keep saying yes. Before you know it, you've subscribed, committed, or even changed your beliefs. It's not the big tricks that control us. It's the tiny agreements we make along the way, the ones that don't seem dangerous until it's too late. The illusion of choice. Here's a mind bender. Giving people 2 or 3 options makes them feel free, but in reality, you've already framed the outcome. Psychologists call this bounded choice. You don't get freedom, you get the illusion of it. Think of a child being told, do you want broccoli or carrots for dinner? The child feels in control, but either way, they're eating vegetables. Politicians, marketers, and manipulators do this constantly. They let you choose between options that all serve their agenda. It feels empowering, but it's just clever trapping. The creepiest part? Most of us never question the setup. We're too busy picking between the choices we've been handed, never realizing the real power lies in asking, why only these options? Next time you're offered a decision that feels too neatly packaged, stop. Ask yourself who's really benefiting and who set the stage in the first place. The mirror effect. People love themselves even when they don't admit it. That's why mirroring works. Subtly copy someone's body language, tone, or words, and they'll start to like you more. They'll feel in sync without knowing why. This is why good manipulators are also good listeners. They watch closely, then reflect back the same gestures, pauses, or even emotional energy. The victim feels understood, connected, safe. But here's where it gets creepy. Mirroring isn't just about building trust. It's about lowering defenses. Once someone feels you're just like them, they're far more open to persuasion. They'll share more. They'll agree more. They'll trust more. It feels natural, but it's actually engineered. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The fear anchor. Fear is one of the most powerful psychological levers. When people are afraid, they become easier to control. Fear narrows focus, shuts down rational thinking, and drives people into seeking safety, often from the very person who created the fear in the first place. This is why fear-based news works. It's why cult leaders predict doom if you leave. It's why political campaigns thrive on fear of the other side. Fear isn't just an emotion, it's a leash. The creepiest part? Once fear is installed, people often defend their manipulators. They justify control because it feels safer than uncertainty. They cling to the hand that's hurting them because letting go feels worse. The dopamine trap. Our brains are addicted to rewards, little bursts of dopamine that come from likes, comments, or small wins. Social media companies know this better than anyone. That's why notifications are red, why feeds are endless, why likes are unpredictable. It's engineered addiction. Psychologists call this variable reinforcement. The same trick used in slot machines. You don't win every time, but you win just enough to keep pulling the lever. Online, this means scrolling, refreshing, checking, again and again. It's creepy because it hijacks your brain's reward system. You think you're just checking your phone, but really your brain is being conditioned like a lab rat. And every ping, buzz, and swipe makes the leash tighter. The subtle push. Imagine being shown the word cold before meeting someone. Later, you describe them as distant without realizing why. That's priming, planting subtle cues that influence how you think and act. Marketers use it constantly. Colors, smells, music, all designed to prime your brain. A warm bakery smell makes you buy more. Slow music in stores makes you walk slower and browse longer. You think your choices are free, but they're gently pushed from the shadows. Priming works because the brain is always looking for shortcuts. The creepiness lies in how invisible it is. You rarely notice it, yet it shapes your thoughts in ways you'd swear were your own. The chilling reminder. So here we are. 9 of the creepiest psychological tricks, tools that marketers, leaders, manipulators, and even ordinary people can use to control behavior. And the scariest part? Most of the time, you don't even notice. Silence that makes you confess. Scarcity that makes you chase. Choices that were never really yours. Fear that locks you in place. Rewards that addict you. Tiny cues that shape your every thought. Now you know, but knowing doesn't make you immune. These tricks work because they target deep primal parts of the human brain. Parts that are older than logic, stronger than willpower. So the next time you're making a choice, ask yourself, is this really me? Or is someone pulling invisible strings? And remember, awareness is your only shield. Because once you see the strings, you can't unsee them.
You've wandered the labyrinth, but the mind holds deeper shadows. Subscribe and step further.